Welcome, friends, and thank you for tuning into the Optimal Health Program today. Hope you're all doing well. I know today is a little chilly outside, and with the wind chill factor, it's not a very happy place to be. But stay inside, enjoy the warmth, do a little exercise inside your house, little sit-ups, push-ups, exercise bike, whatever you have. I try to tell all of my patients to get an exercise bike or a simple elliptical, anything. So if the weather's bad outside, you can just do something at home, pop it in front of the TV, watch an old movie, get your blood flowing, because it's an important part of keeping your body strong and healthy. Interesting topics today. Now, the printer here apparently is got a mind of its own.
Yeah, not doing us any
justice. It's not doing what we would like it to do. So in prep for the program, I'll send over to Frankie a list of cool articles. And the articles we'll talk about on the program. And it's nice to have them printed in front of me, but today we're going to have to read them off of my phone. So one of the articles I looked at that was pretty cool talks about HIIT, high-intensity exercise. Our interval training may help older adults lose fat while preserving muscle. Now, this is a key important thing because as you get older, you don't want to lose muscle strength, muscle mass, the ability to open jars, doors, or do your daily activities. So we like the fact that some of these activities, high intensity, where you're doing a brisk thing for a short period of time, can keep your muscles stimulated and also help burn sugar, burn fat, burn cholesterol. So they've looked at different types of exercise over the years. If you're just doing a walk and it's the same pace, not a heck of a lot of benefit to that. If you're changing the pace and you're going slow, brisk, fast, you're getting more benefit. Now, this article talks about high intensity, where you're doing something really quickly for a short burst of time, giving you added benefits. So you should mix it in. Do as many different types of exercise or activity as you possibly can. I asked beg your indulgence here because my voice is a little bit off. Been talking all day, every day as I do. And when I came into the building today, a nice gentleman was doing the cleaning and, of course, spick and span, spotless outside, but there are some chemicals that he was using that
A little strong. A little
a little
pungent.
strong. I was able to inhale, so that's why you'll see me going back and forth to a little bit of my coffee to try to calm my throat down.
Got a
I even
question.
put a lozenge or two. Yeah.
Got a question here real quick from the Rumble. People, what's up, LFA TV? When we say high intensity, what does that really mean for older adults?
Well, we have to be careful. We have to gauge what they can do. If you can get on an exercise bike and pedal for 20 minutes or a half hour, and it would be different for a much younger person, you might want to pedal the first minute, 2 minutes at a comfortable pace, then go faster for a minute or two if you can do that, then back down. So the high intensity is better than a regular, comfortable, slow pace, but shouldn't be extended for too long. So if I were to do this with someone, a patient that I knew or a relative, I'd say, okay, if you can pedal the bike for 20 minutes, good. That means your body's able to dilate your blood vessels and accept that big blood flow. If you start and for the first 2 or 3 minutes, you go at something that's roughly 3 miles an hour, like a comfortable pace that you might be walking at on a treadmill, or 2 miles an hour. And then for 1 minute, go faster. If you can do that without problem, pain, or discomfort, then good. That may be their entrance into the high intensity. Then back down to a comfortable pace. Do it for 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes, go a little bit faster. So it depends upon the person's ability, depends upon their musculoskeletal concerns, their cardiac concerns. But for the older population, we have to be very judicious as how we do it. I love having the baseline of walking every day or riding the bike every day. I just like throwing in a little bit extra, whether it's weight training, Pilates, yoga, some of the HIIT. So every little activity you do that varies is good for you. It just gets your body in a better place, gets you stronger.
Someone else from YouTube said that they heard that high-intensity exercise improves insulin sensitivity and blood sugar control.
Absolutely.
Any truth to that?
Absolutely, because when you're doing activity, your body needs energy to do that. And the glucose is what your body typically uses as that fuel. You hear about people having a big carb meal before going for a run. You hear about people drinking a protein powder or shake that's got a lot of carb in it before they weight train. Sometimes that's overdoing it, but I think that you have carbs stored and glycogen stored in your liver. For most people, I don't tell them to have a lot of carb before the exercise, unless they're doing something exhaustive and they need more than what their stores may hold. And then we'll have them do a little bit of that after the activity. But the beauty is you're burning sugar nicely. You're letting insulin do a better job. It becomes more efficient with the exercise on top of it. So it's a good combination. For people that they have dysinsulinemia or they have glucose intolerance, insulin resistance, and they're not doing the exercise, and they're eating carb, and the insulin's not doing a great job of bringing the sugars down, adding the exercise is quintessential. It's super important because it's allowing your body to burn that sugar. You don't need as much insulin. Your body's using it as a fuel. You're dilating your blood vessels, flooding your cells with oxygen, vitamins, minerals, and hormones, so there's all benefit and no drawback.
Does anything actually reverse aspects of aging at the cellular level?
So, yes, there are things that we've talked about over the years. We can talk about a variety of things. There are nutrients that are important for binding free radicals because free radicals damage your cells and create aging. The analogy that I make is that if there's a brick wall over here, and that's one of your cells, the more free radicals that damage that brick wall, they're stealing a brick from that wall, like stealing an electron from the outer orbit of some of your cells and or atoms and such. So stealing the electron or stealing that brick causes the cell damage and causes breakdown and death of the cell called apoptosis. antioxidant vitamins block that free radical damage and that oxidation, antioxidants. Hormones will keep your cells and your organs working well so that over time, as you're losing the hormones and losing function, you could regain that. Again, also the exercise flooding the oxygen into your cells. NAD is an important cofactor in 500 different medical and biochemical processes, and that allows oxygen to convert into ATP, which is energy, which enhances your cellular function, gets it to work like it was a younger cell as you bring back the NAD that your body doesn't make much of anymore. IGF-1, or Sermorelin, the active component of growth hormone, repairs your cells so they have better longevity and benefit. So it's making your cells, existing cells, better at what they've always done. And if they're working in an efficiency level of a 5 out of a 10, and you're doing these things, and now you get to a 7 or an 8, that's great. There are telomeres at the end of the chromosomes and the genes. This concept has been around forever. But there are some companies that make supplementation to try to keep those telomeres strong, to decrease the chewing off of the little tips of the telomeres so that those cells continue to age. I'm not sure that people want to spend a great deal of money, because it's not inexpensive, doing that, to theoretically see that their body may be doing better. So I don't know, and I'm not going to give out the name of the company because I'm not going to talk bad about them. It's just hard for me to understand that that supplement is going to stop a significant amount of telomere degeneration. On the other hand, the mechanism that makes your organs younger, your joints younger, certainly could rejuvenate skin, face, hair. We do this all the time as stem cell therapy. You're putting your own cells into play where they would go to your heart, lungs, liver, kidney, pancreas, brain, eyes, and make brand new cells. That's longevity. That's youth. When you're a 15-year-old kid and you're making trillions of cells every second, and you're dividing, you could run marathons, knock yourself out, and bounce back from it because you have new cells coming on board all the time. When you get older, you're living on older cells. Your organs aren't working as well. They're not making the neurotransmitters, your hormones. So that's what age-related change comes from. If we could put new cells back in, you're making the organ younger. So that's the only true anti-aging mechanism. You're not going to get a cream from a plant and anti-age your face because you're just topically putting a cream on your face to make it look shiny or plump. But you're not putting new cells on board. New cells is younger function. So that's why we talk about stem cells, the ultimate anti-aging mechanism.
Got a lot of good afternoons. I'd like to give that to you, Doc.
Good afternoon. Thank you guys for listening.
Got one here. How often should older adults do high-intensity workouts per week, you think?
Depends on the fitness of the adult. Many years ago, I went to a conference in L.A., and I used to go to all the conferences. I wanted to suck up as much knowledge as I possibly could. And at the anti-aging conferences, actually it was in Vegas, held by the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, where I was able to get my board certification in anti-aging medicine. There was always this tall guy with white hair, and he was always walking around dressed in a suit, really well-dressed. And you'd see him above the crowds because he was like 6'6", but tan, full head of hair. Closer I got to him, like, geez, this guy's in crazy shape. He's jacked. At one point, he takes his shirt off. He had a T-shirt underneath. I'm like, what the heck? And I said, this guy's not a young guy, but he's got unbelievable muscle proportion, definition. I found out he was a naturopath and went to speak to him. His name is Bob Del Montique. He since has passed. He must have been 100 when he passed. But when I saw him, he was 84. And I'm telling you, I've never seen anybody look that good. Even 40s and 50s, up to 80s, he worked out his entire life. He was always into eating right, fitness, vitamins. This guy looked phenomenal. His face looked a little bit older than his body, but his body was unbelievable shape. Big arms, big chest. He was in phenomenal shape. But this is what we have the capability of doing if we want to follow the right pattern. And he worked out every day of his life and was unbelievably fit because of that. Now, not everybody is there. If you have a person that can do exercise every day for a half hour, maybe once a week, twice a week, do some of the HIIT training, just take it easy, take it slow, see how it goes, and see if that enhances your endurance, your strength, makes you sleep better. You know, of course, cardiac patients may not be able to do that. Patients with lung disorders may not be able to do that. But, you know, peppering in a little bit of all these different activities makes a lot of sense. That's why in the same breath, I'll say weights, indoor, outdoor bike, walking, brisk walking, yoga, Pilates, any of these things. I think doing a little bit of each of the different activities enhances your body's ability to maintain your strength and your function.
Someone in the chat saying, I want to be like that guy. Unfortunately.
Yeah. I'm telling you, everybody wants to be like that guy.
Yeah. They said, unfortunately, my heart rate spikes climbing the stairs at the moment.
Well, then we have to create a mechanism where you can walk for some distance on a flat surface, slow, brisk, fast, maybe pedal the exercise bike too. Get your heart and your blood vessels getting used to dilating when you start the exercise. You know, people who do no activity, when you start the exercise, your body has stress on it. It doesn't know what to do. It's not going to dilate your blood vessels. It puts pressure on your heart. But as you gradually increase the activity, and if you can do it for 5 minutes every day, do it for 5. Then go to 10. Then go to 15. Then go to 20. And allow your body to acclimate to the activity. And by doing so, sooner or later, climbing the stairs and other activities become easy. I can't run a marathon. I never tried. I mean, I guess I could probably do a half marathon if I trained for it, but, you know, it takes a little time to get your body used to what you want it to do.
Up to date on those questions. Move on to the next.
Okay, let's go next.
The
Dementia.
next unprinted article.
Dementia, hypertension, heart disease, and other risk factors. So heart disease, hypertension create risk for dementia. Now, this makes sense. It wouldn't sound crazy to think that high blood pressure can put pressure on the blood vessels of your brain and affect your brain like it would your heart. It could make your heart have hypertrophy of the muscle because you're pushing against a lot of pressure. Heart disease, plaque, vascular issues, of course, can occur in the brain as easily as they can occur in your coronaries. So there's a concept called vascular dementia, where your blood vessels are getting clogged and they're decreasing the delivery of oxygen, vitamins, minerals, and hormones to your brain. If you were to add on heavy metal exposure, you were to add on other things, hormone decline, makes your brain go a little mushy. Progressively, your body does worse and worse. And again, you're losing cells over time as you get older. If we can test for and correct your vitamins, same thing with correcting your minerals and your hormones, get the exercise on board, you start to see this change and reverse. NAD is a terrific add-on for brain benefit. But my initial comment is to walk your body back to where you were 10 or 15 or 20 years ago when you had great levels of hormones or vitamins and minerals. So you want all of those things to be present, the things that you require. It's not as though I would jump to a drug and ignore the benefits of your vitamins, minerals, hormones, and NAD. You want to correct all the natural things. I don't think the drugs work for memory loss and dementia and Alzheimer's anyway. So if we talk about keeping your brain working its best, it's got requirements. It has to be fed.
Got a question here. Why are dementia patients, why are they commonly associated with fluid in the lungs?
So when your body starts to break down, And, your heart and lungs and liver and kidney and pancreas, all of these things start to happen within roughly a certain time frame. If your heart is not pumping fluid around quickly enough because it's become weak, and the contraction of your heart, that beat, ba-boom, is not strong, fluid can start to back up. That can become what we've called congestive heart failure. That can happen in part, can correlate, just as I'm mentioning, with dementia because you're not getting the blood flow with all the good nutrients and oxygen to your brain. And there could be plaque in your heart, there could be plaque in your brain. So a lot of times, different organ systems kind of start to go bad at the same time. In a perfect world, if we got rid of some of the extra fluid to take that fluid out of the lungs, sometimes using simple diuretics can do that, but we have to use a diuretic that doesn't wipe out magnesium, potassium. We would have to get people off of cholesterol statin drugs because they wipe out CoQ10. That makes the heart contraction weaker. And if we could support the heart and create great vitamin, mineral, hormone levels, get exercise on board, certainly for people that have a decline in heart function on the echocardiogram, a lower ejection fraction, we would opt to do stem cell therapy, and we would also do that nasally to help to improve cell delivery to the brain. You start to see some pretty dramatic benefits. So, like anything else, it depends upon what we're up against. If you have a problem here, but you try to do something else, but you're not fixing that other issue, you won't get the same result. You have to look at all the underlying causes and fix each one of them.
Is dementia a single disease or a group of conditions?
Wow, that's a really good question.
Oh, shout out to Rumble.
I like that question because I don't think it's a singular thing. And I don't think anything in your body is a singular entity. I think lots of things crisscross, cross-react, many different things play a role. So memory loss and dementia, loss of word retrieval, focus, concentration, any of the things that we typically talk about and we see early on, and dementia could be really bad, and then dementia, the name changes to senile dementia of the Alzheimer's type or Alzheimer's disease. We have to look at a variety of things: blood flow, circulation, heavy metal exposure, vitamin hormone decline. All of these things play a role. So if we want to be able to improve the brain function, we've got to assess and understand all of the different underlying causes. If we can remove the heavy metals with the chelation, calcium, EDTA, that would be great. We can get vitamins on board, oral or intravenous or a shot, that would be great. If the hormones are super low and we bring them back, that would be great. You're covering every base. And again, to the extent that, depending upon age, if a person's much older and they've been losing cells for a long time, putting the new cells back in will give the brain brand new cells and act as a younger brain. So we've seen it and done it. So I think heart disease, vessel disease, brain and other organ diseases are not this standalone thing. I think there are multiple combinations of causes. I've mentioned before that vascular disease and plaque in the blood vessels is not a cholesterol-only thing. It certainly could be from high cholesterol, high triglycerides, low HDL, high LDL, high small LDL, high homocysteine, fibrinogen, C-reactive protein. Viruses can cause plaque as they inflame the blood vessel wall, and more things get stuck to that inflamed area. Heavy metals. So the list goes on and on. Vitamin deficiency, because the vitamin deficiency causes high homocysteine. So I think there are 50 different things that contribute to plaque. So it's many, not one. Had a patient today, lovely patient. I've known her for years. This is a patient I've known for 28 years. When I first moved up to where I live, she and her husband owned a little restaurant, an insurance business, and lovely woman, exercises all the time, so fit. You won't find anybody else that's as fit as this. Lean, great shape. She goes to the doctor, sees the cholesterol's a little bit high. No big deal. I think it hasn't been that high, and it's fluctuated a little bit back and forth. He talks her into having the ultra-fast CAT scan, which is a lot of radiation. 0 plaque. No plaque anywhere whatsoever in her blood vessels. He wants her on a cholesterol pill. I said, why? So I think she looks like she's in her 30s, but she's probably 50s or so. And I said, well, why would you go on a cholesterol pill if your cholesterol is a little bit high, but you have no evidence of any plaque anywhere? Oh, to prevent what may happen in the future. Oh, really? So you want to be on a drug that's got side effects, wiping out CoQ10, maybe making your heart contraction weaker, affecting your muscles, blah, 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 affecting your memory, because there is correlation with the statins and memory and dementia. And of course, she agreed, and certainly she ran to the office today to jump in and get her visit because she wanted to tell me the story. I said, this is just crazy. Why should you be on a medication when there's no evidence of any vascular abnormality or plaque? I said, you're better off using vitamin combinations that lower the cholesterol without the risk of wiping out your CoQ10. And some people think, oh, I take CoQ10, and they take it once or twice a day. When you're blocking the cholesterol production by blocking the enzyme HMG-CoA reductase, you're inhibiting that. The steps right after that are production of all your CoQ10. So you're totally blocking any CoQ10 you might make 24/7, taking 1 or 2 pills of the CoQ10 in a day is not going to equal what you'd be making all day long every day. So it doesn't make sense. So we recommended that we put her on a vitamin pack with the cholesterol-lowering nutrients.
The viewers want to know if she ended up taking the medicine.
No, I wouldn't let her. It makes no sense. So if we could lower cholesterol with berberine, red yeast rice, combinations of natural things, and we can, if we can tighten up someone's diet, her diet's tight. But if we can kind of cut the carbs down a little bit better, some people you turn up the exercise a little bit more, all of a sudden you see that cholesterol burn down to nothing. So it's simple, it's very doable, and there's no risk or side effect with it. It's just that if the only tool you have is a hammer, then everything seems to look like the head of a nail. So, if the only thing you can do is write prescriptions, that's what's going to happen. That's why sort of teaching people to think out of the box, sort of keep one foot in the box and one foot out, at least will give you some exposure to more truth,
Yeah, someone said in the chat, it's very weird how they've just been pushing statins recently.
It's very weird that they've been pushing all sorts of things over time, when you're on this side of the stethoscope. Here's a case in point. The step care approach to hypertension has been around for 50 years or so. So the initial approach to hypertension, change your diet, exercise, eat right, see what happens. First step. And second step would be a diuretic. Diuretics push out water, pressure can come down. But some diuretics push out magnesium, potassium as well. But if the cause of your hypertension is low magnesium, potassium, you're making it worse. So that doesn't work. They give you another pill. But they keep the first pill on board. Why? Second pill. Maybe it's not hitting the mechanism right. Third pill. Maybe that works, maybe it doesn't. But why do you have the first 2 pills on board if they didn't create the result? If it doesn't work, get rid of it. We've had a lot of people that similarly, and some that have really high blood pressure when they come in, I'll put them on medication to lower it down to get them safe. But then we'll get their blood work back, fix things, fine tune, more magnesium, potassium, exercise, low carb, lose the weight, pressure comes down, they're off the meds. That's the smart way to do it, as I see it. But to keep people on meds that aren't working doesn't make any sense. That's what's done. Also, with all of our hypertensive patients, Medicare and otherwise, we're recommending the remote patient monitoring where we can get your blood pressure cuff. And for Medicare patients, the cuff, as you read your pressure, will send us your blood pressure reading every day. Think of that. If a doctor sees a hypertensive patient 3 times a year, has them on meds, you get 3 readings. You're not getting 365 readings. If simply I can track your pressure and see where you are year round, I've got a much better handle than looking at 3 readings. Some days you'll be higher, some days you'll be lower. You might talk with a patient and say, hey, your blood pressure was high the other day. Not too crazy. What was going on? You had a fight with a family member. You ate too much salt. What happened? Then you could address it and fix it. If you get the person to do more exercise in the summer, their weight comes down, pressure comes down, you can start to wean them off their meds. So there's so much more you can do when you gather all this data. And there are 20 different disorders, chronic disorders, that Medicare wants us to do this for. So for hypertension, you get the cuff. Diabetes, you get a glucometer. We also might set people up for the 2 to 4 week monitor on your arms so you don't have to stick yourself as much. We're looking at a ring, a bracelet, or a band, which tells us 25 different parameters: your oxygen, your temperature, your sleep patterns, how much walking you're doing. It can gather so much information that we'll know this every day, and we can see where we have to adjust. If we have little alarms on the device, if your pressure's high or low, sugar's high or low, arrhythmia, then we could deal with it right away. That's genius. That's real medicine. That's just not waiting for the problem to happen and then person going to the ER for a gigantic ER expensive visit. And that's why Medicare wants to cover it, because they're saving a crazy amount of money. It's already been documented in research that people who do the remote monitoring tracking are saving a lot of issues with, diabetic problems, heart attack, stroke, all of these things. Because once you see something's going on, if you address it right away, you're saving a great deal of aggravation for that patient. And you're saving Medicare a lot of money, which is nice, but it's not. The ultimate concern is really making sure the patient's not going to go bad and end up in the hospital or end up with far greater issues.
And to the person in the chat saying this would be perfect for my mother, yes.
Absolutely. And most of the patients we have on it, we have a lot of them on it now, because every week, and I talk to my Medicare patients, I see them all the time. I just fill out their top sheet, circle RPM, blood pressure, cuff. We're getting, I think this week coming up, we're getting the ring and we're getting the bracelet. I'm going to wear both. I just want to be able to see how well they work. And, just to be able to track these things is genius, because you're preventing a lot of problems from occurring. And the patient is engaged because we're sending them a report, whether it's weekly or monthly. We're having AI also do evaluations, and AI can contact the patient. Patient could have a conversation with the AI. It's unbelievable.
What a world.
As to the capability of what we're able to do now. And someone online posted something that said, hey, in the future, AI is going to be required with doctor visits because AI is capturing things that a lot of doctors didn't pick up on. AI is doing better reads for X-rays, CAT scans, MRIs. They also believe that that AI can pick up on cancer issues earlier. It's amazing that having this gigantic brain behind us to use is going to create such an amazing advantage for our patients. The other thing we're working on, it's not ready yet, maybe within the next month, is a way for people that are either within my practice or not, primarily for patients that are not in my practice, because we do all the reviews of their blood work and explain everything thoroughly like nobody else does. People anywhere in the country can put their blood work into a platform that we have. We're fine-tuning it so that AI would review your blood work and look at your prior blood work, look for trends, and give you this ultimate explanation of your blood work, which is 1 billion times more than what traditional medicine seems to do. I wouldn't be the first person to say, hey, traditional medicine, doctors aren't explaining anything. So now you get an exquisite explanation from the AI as to what your tests show. Can also recommend diet, exercise, vitamins or minerals. But the vitamin part I have to fine tune, because if the AI sees that your vitamin D range is 30 to 100 and you're at 40, it might say, oh, that's pretty good, but we want you to be closer to 80 to get all the benefits of vitamin D. So it'll include that. And then people can have a telehealth visit with myself or my staff. They can get repeat blood work done to recheck the vitamins, as we do in the office, without the people ever coming in per se. They can send us a physical exam report from their primary doctor, so that's part of our knowledge base. We can put them on RPM if need be. We can put them on peptides, hormone replacement, all in a very simple fashion, and the people really aren't leaving their house much at all. But gathering all the data, fine-tuning, it just makes all the sense in the world. And with the AI component, it makes it dramatically easy. So this is something that we're working on. Within the next month or two, it should be underway. So for all of those people who are not happy because they don't understand their blood work, that's something that we're able to do. So it's ideal. And it's here. It'll be ready in no time for you guys.
Chat's just saying this is an insane world we live in.
Yeah, it's I think that good research marches on no matter what. And when something comes along like the AI tool, to be able to gather information through, I don't know if you would call it terabytes of information, to be able to answer a question or to be able to use to create a terrific, intelligent outcome, why not? It's terrific. I think they're going to be used more and more in the medical realm, in the research realm. I know that it's used in legal practices. It's used in a variety of places, but I think that its best application is going to be in medicine, because we will have that connection with the patient, one-to-one, have alarms on some of the RPM devices, contact the patient, fix things right away. And with all this information, all this data of blood pressure, pulse, heart rhythm, oxygen, walking, sleep, all of this, it's like the doctor's dream to have all this information on their patients to be able to keep them healthy. That's what it's all about.
As long as it's used for good, someone in the chats.
Yeah, I don't see how this would be in any negative mechanism, because it's giving us your info, we're fine-tuning. You get reports, you're engaged, you keep, talking, you keep learning, you keep fixing. I mean, it's genius. I mean, we're already doing it. And with my patient database as sort of the test group, I mean, it's been done elsewhere before. I'm not the first person to start it. With the RPM, the blood review will be the first to do that. Studies have shown that you're dramatically reducing progression of disease because you're tracking the patient like never before. It's never been done before. And again, made available by new technology, by AI, and by brilliant engineers making these watches and rings and bracelets so that you can get daily information. What would be better?
Someone's asking when your program starts, Doc.
Which program? So we're already starting with the RPM. That's up and running. We have probably close to 100 people on it. And every day we're just sending more people into the mechanism so we can get them covered, whether they have asthma, COPD, heart failure, blood pressure, diabetes, any organ issue, kidney decline, kidney failure, any of the chronic diseases and there are 20 of them. I should bring a list of the 20. That's what we're putting into play. So it's already started. And we're getting some pretty awesome results with it. The blood test and that platform, very close. And I talk with the gentleman that I've been working with pretty much every day on it, talking about, well, what about this? What about that? I think we'll be able to do a great deal more as a result of learning about patients in a way that hasn't been done before. Yes, we're going to have a questionnaire on the platform where people will send their blood work in. Do you have this? Do you have that? What are your symptoms? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Be a nice intake. And then we can point them towards, what they need. In probably a faster and easier way that's ever been done before. But it's not that traditional thing that a lot of people are used to. It's what my mechanism is with the super thorough blood test. For example, let's say a person had a regular doctor's blood test but didn't do vitamins, didn't do hormones, didn't do heavy metals, didn't do the methylation test. We would suggest that the person, after the AI does the review, does a telehealth visit. We'll discuss the need for the other tests, send out a prescription, get that done, review that blood work with the patient, and now set them up. So it's comprehensive. Again, like it hasn't been done before. Takes a lot of thinking, a lot of conversations back and forth. Fortunately, Stan, the guy that I use and talk about in Florida, is a genius with coding. And he'll say, hey, I just sent you something. And he'll send me this unbelievably well-coded, well-presented algorithm. And I look at it, I'm like, wow. Pretty awesome. And then we fine-tune, we cover bases. It's just, and it's been a few months, obviously, that we've been doing this, but the end result's going to be phenomenal.
The chat is trying to figure out who you remind them of. But
okay. As long as it's someone that's relatively interesting and good looking. So in my younger days, I don't know if you have a picture. Well, maybe we'll do that next time. I had a great mustache. Fortunately for me, and my grandfather had a big mustache, but a big Tom Selleck mustache. It was big and full, and, I imagine myself being like Tom Selleck, of course. He's a little taller. Please. Maybe a little better looking. But, yeah, other people thought I looked like Tony Orlando, which is not as nothing against Tony Orlando. Tie yellow ribbon around the old oak tree. But, I kind of would rather lean towards Tom Selleck.
Yeah, we got some people in the chat saying Tom Selleck, they could see that.
One of my patients years ago in the city, Chris Noth from Sex and the City, people said I looked like him. I didn't really see that. He's got a big nose, too.
I think you need to grow the mustache out.
I may have to do that. Maybe no shave February or March. Always a big mustache. I'll have to show you a picture when the show's over.
Oh, man.
I was very proud of it. I tried to do it again a while back.
Hard to maintain, though.
And yeah, it's just, and then waiting for it to come in. It's like, oh, here it comes. I had it for years, then I haven't had it since who knows when. Having it come back on, you're like, wow, this is just weird.
I immediately want it to get off of my face.
Yeah.
I hate it. Can't keep it.
Well, I guess at different times in your life, you have different ideas as to what you want to look like. Back in the day, we all had like a lot of hair. Anyway, I'm fortunate for all the hair that I have, and it's
coming back, Doc.
Doing well.
You see in the new generation, they all got this long, coiffy.
Oh yeah, it's just big hair is coming back.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I'll fit back in with that. But you know what? I can't deal with too much hair. I just want it to be in place, where it stays where I want it to, not flopping over my forehead like it might have been in the past. But I'll show you some big hair pictures and mustache pictures. But styles keep changing, and everybody has an identity. Identity was big hair and mustaches back in the day, and it was a relatively good thing. Women, really big hair, lots of hairspray.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Fire hazard, by the way, because you walk by somewhere too warm or hot, your hair is going to go up in flames.
Well, someone in the chat is saying she used to use at least one full hairspray bottle when she would get ready. And I will say, when my wife uses hairspray, could there be a more toxic thing in the air, Doc? I mean,
I don't know.
It's like glue in the air, just being
Pretty much. You're
breathed
just
in.
like gluing your hair to stay in position. I think that there are a lot of nice pastes and gels and things. You could just do a little bit and hold it in place, but all that spray stuff.
Can't be good.
Now, we have a lot of patients that are hairdressers that, of course, have shoulder issues because they're constantly cutting hair. And their shoulder and their neck are just working 5 times harder all day. But a lot of them have issues with the chemicals and the dyes and the coloring.
How does that work? Are you taking out was it metals or?
Yeah, so if we're chelating, we're pulling out the metals and things that can cause a lot of that damage. I'm just looking back at another interesting article.
We're gonna get that printer back, guys. Don't you worry.
Dementia affects more women than men. Why? Now, every woman I've mentioned this to said, because of the men. Okay. It's possible. But heavy metal exposure correlates with that, and then hormone decline. We all know that women need to have good hormones, estrogen, progesterone. They also need DHEA, testosterone, IGF-1, all of these things. And when they drop, you start to lose that sharpness, that focus. You bring them back, it comes back. Heavy metal exposure, maybe chemical exposure. There was a great commentary, an article, where in Europe they've banned the nail polish that has certain chemicals in it. Here it's used, like water. But putting this chemical on your nails over and over and over again is not a good thing, according to, some big-time European research. Using aluminum in your underarm deodorant is a bad thing. You're just putting this hot gel or spray, or this gel or spray into a warm part of your body where your blood vessels dilate and you're sucking up whatever's there. And you see people have tons of aluminum when they're using these deodorants, or antiperspirants, rather. So you got to be careful. But I say this once, I've said it 10 million times. We want to learn about your body and then walk your body back to where you were 10 or 15 years ago with what you had, not giving you all sorts of meds to try to change your symptoms, but to fix the cause of the problem.
I don't know if you noticed, but I've had the hiccups for about 10 minutes.
Really?
I'm trying, Doc.
Yeah, that's not good. I would scare you if I could, but it wouldn't be good for the show.
Oh, man, this is rough. Never happened during a show. However, we do have another couple of questions. If I could speak. How does menopause and the drop of estrogen affect the brain over time?
So every cell in your body has receptors. And those receptors are for everything your cells need: vitamins, minerals, hormones. So there are estrogen, progesterone receptors on your brain, evidenced by the fact that as your brain ages and your ovaries age and they're not making the estrogen, progesterone, and you can see those levels low in your blood and high levels of FSH, LH, because your brain's asking for more hormone. That's the mechanism. And if your brain cells are less in number and you're not getting the hormones, then your brain cells start to change. They don't make the neurotransmitters, and you start to feel less sharp or focused. Your mood's not good. You're not sleeping well. Virtually every woman who goes into menopause, is the ceiling falling down?
No, that was the cap of my water bottle.
Okay. As long as it's just a water bottle cap.
I'm a mess over here.
If your hormones decline and your brain cells are less in number and you're not getting the right signals or messages from your hormones or your vitamins, then you lose that sharpness and focus. And every woman who's gone into menopause, and I've spoken to many thousands over 40 years of doing this, they say, yeah, I have brain fog. My word retrieval, my focus is not good. I forget where I put my keys. I forget this or that. And that's just sort of the hallmark of your brain not getting fed and not being instructed as to what to do. You put the vitamins back in, you put the hormones back in, and correct them according to your blood test, all of a sudden, those things improve. So If it's a later stage and a person's much older, then the other option may need to be stem cells. So you're putting them into your brain to get new brain cells, new neurotransmitters. I would still correct the hormones, and then your body starts to reverse.
Is the timing of menopause a factor in dementia risk later in life?
So the earlier that you go into menopause, the higher the risk. The later you go into menopause, the lower the risk. And it's interesting because, and I'm a student of understanding different populations and different people. And if a woman says, oh, yeah, I'm 55, I still have my period, I'm like, oh, wow, great. And she's like, what? Because they're not happy. They're not that happy. I said, let me explain that, if I might explain. That means that you still are making the hormones and are hitting the receptors you should, so your body's younger and healthier looking and feeling and functioning. For a woman who has fibroids or some reason to remove the ovaries and their hormones plummet, they age faster unless we correct with some of the bioidentical hormone correction, because losing the hormones early is not a good thing.
Are there differences in male and female brain structures that affect dementia risk?
Another good question. It seems that women go and have higher rates of dementia than men. I don't know if a higher testosterone that men typically have their whole lives would be protective of the brain. It probably would be, because I've seen men into their 60s and 70s and even 80s have decent levels of testosterone but have no memory loss or dementia. But when women have the loss of estrogen and progesterone, which also at the same time the little testosterone they have drops down, DHEA drops down, I think it's a combined effect that creates more of a problem in their case than within men. I don't think there's anything that's dietary that would be different in men and women. And if you look historically at men and women, they when they're married or living together and this and that, they eat the same foods, blah, blah, blah. So I don't see that men eat different foods than women do. Physical activity probably prolongs your brain function and keeps that working better. Do men do more physical activity than women? Maybe. So I just think your brain has a requirement for all sorts of different things, including your hormones. And, women need more of the hormones than men do. Men might have a tiny amount of estrogen. Women need a lot. Men might have a tiny amount of progesterone. Women need a lot. Men need a lot of testosterone. Women need a little. So I think the variation there is probably the hormonal mechanism.
Someone said, so hormone replacement therapy reduces or increases dementia risk?
It decreases dementia risk.
And does the timing matter?
Good question. I think that if a woman goes into menopause in her 40s or 50s, you wouldn't want to wait that long to correct it. I think as soon as a woman starts to see the hormone decline, we check their blood, and the blood shows significant drop in the estrogen progesterone and elevations of LH and FSH. Then we'd start a little bit of DHEA to see if that can get the DHEA stress hormone up. Maybe it'll help a little bit of estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. If that comes up to normal, great. That's all you need. If it goes beyond a little bit of a change, then typically we might need to do more of that and give them a little bit more. So it depends upon what the blood test shows.
What should I prioritize to keep my brain healthy?
So it's not as though there's one thing, and typically we don't talk about a brain formula as the only recommendation. There are a lot of them on the market with phosphatidylserine, phosphatidylcholine. They may be advantageous, but you've got to test all your vitamins and minerals, the things that you have requirement for your whole life. Vitamins, minerals, hormones. Depending upon your age, if you're a 20-year-old kid, likely your hormones are fine. But as you get older and all these things drop, that starts to change. So you want to keep your levels of function in the cells that you have as high as possible. A lot of exercise, flood oxygen, vitamins, minerals, hormones. That's what anti-aging is all about. Fix the things and bring back what you've had your entire young existence so you maintain and continue your function. Don't smoke, don't drink too much alcohol, certainly don't do drugs, don't have junk food. I mean, those are kind of obvious.
Someone in the chat said, I know it's just pickleball, but it feels like a workout to me. Listen,
Pickleball?
I've played pickleball. It takes a lot out of you. I get it.
It does. Most of my friends, we tease each other about it, but hey, look, it's exercise. And honestly, I've seen some of the guys play. I've seen some of the pros. I see people playing in the gym. If you're not doing like the pity pat thing where you have this little puff, and you're being a little bit vigorous with it, and you're trying to hit the ball where the person's not, and you're moving and grooving, just like tennis, yeah, it's good. Every different activity is good. If you could play pickleball for a half hour at a time, that's great. Moving around for a half hour, it's great. I tell people, tennis players and pickleball players and golfers, make sure you stretch in the range of motion for that activity every day so that when you go out to play, you're not stiff and you're not going to hurt yourself. So if a golf swing has to be pivoting around your spine and bringing your arms and the club up almost horizontal and then coming down in this perfect fluid movement, if you're not stretched to that full extent of the movement and you go to play and you go beyond your stretch, there's injury. It's waiting for you. If for tennis or pickleball, you're not stretching to be able to reach for that stinky little drop shot that you have to chase after and lean into one side or the other, if you're not stretched out for that, you'll have injury. So when you're at home every day, visualize you playing the sport and stretching all the way down and stretching on the other side and full range of motion. Do that. Get some massage done so that you can't hurt yourself.
Amen.
It's the prep before the activity. Look, every pro athlete does a ton of stretching and a ton of activity before the game.
It's crazy how flexible they are, too. Like MLB players before a game, throwing their legs up
yeah,
crazy.
Some of these guys are just, it's their livelihoods. They have to be. It's amazing to me, and I have friends that are pro football players. I have friends that are pro baseball players that really never got hurt in any specific fashion. One of my friends used to play on the Bears and the Giants. Gigantic guy, big German guy. His knees are twice the size of my knees. Never got hurt. He put the hurt on everybody else, but he's been working out every day since high school. Strong as a bull, never got hurt. Amazing shape. He was over 300 pounds when he played. Big, muscular guy. And then now he's probably 285, just jacked and shredded. But he's got that pattern down, so he's exactly where he wants to be. And he'll be the guy that looks like Bob Del Monteque, that 86-year-old guy that I met at the conference, because he's unrelenting at, his health and his fitness. So it does take work, but it's worth it because your body just does better and better year to year as a result of it. But I was meant to say before, I see these guys, hitting each other hard in football. You're surprised there aren't more injuries. Why? Because they're totally stretched out. They're totally muscular strong. They're joint strong, so you don't see that many injuries. You put the average people out there, everybody would get hurt.
Someone wants to know who you're rooting for the Super Bowl, Doc.
Both teams are good teams. I'm not really leaning one way or the other. All I want to see is a really good close game. Either a close game. Well, I don't like low scores because that's boring. I want to see a close game with high scores. A lot of touchdowns and a lot of field goals and that back and forth where you're on the edge of the seat, because otherwise it's not exciting. It's not fun. The Patriots are a great team. Seahawks, right, are a great team. So, I saw something funny online where they're testing out the fireworks to blow off at the end of the game. It's all the colors of the Patriots football team.
Stop it.
So if the Patriots win, I'm telling you now that I saw this online, that there may very well be some sort of thing happening to make that occur. I think a lot of sports are rigged. I saw that. Yeah, I'll have to send it to you. I don't know anymore.
It doesn't get any worse.
You know, I'm such a disbeliever when all these things are found out about what's going on. You say, wow. They asked Elon Musk what he thought about conspiracy theories. He means all the ones that we were told were fake that came true. I was like, he's got you there. It's pretty true. And let me just say one thing. Because we haven't talked about our friend Charlie Kirk in a long time. I don't like the wife. I don't like what's going on. She's been caught lying through her teeth. I never dated anybody for the 5 years I was in New York. She's on a reality show. She dated this guy. Now the guy that she dated before Charlie, who theoretically may be the father of one or two of her kids.
I didn't see that one.
What's his face? Now they're trying to push him as the new Charlie, and I just don't like it. You know, you get a really bad feeling about something. Your intuition kind of says, there's something wrong with this. There's definitely something wrong with this. So
Something don't smell right.
I applaud Candace Owens for doing what she's doing, because she's really digging to try to figure out who killed her friend. But it's just a completely bizarre world. I don't trust any of that. I don't trust the fact that her mother and father, work for the government, the feds, the CIA, blah, blah, blah. She made videos for the CIA. I mean,
it's very bizarre.
Just all wrong. Poor guy. Sometimes when you're a really nice guy and you're really well-intentioned and you're trying to be good, and, people will figure out how to take advantage of you. I'm sure that's what happened. And the whole cover-up happened just to make it look like it was some goofy kid, which there's no chance of that. All this Epstein stuff coming out, which is nauseating.
Dude, this is insane.
Overwhelming.
It's like our entire world and / country is run by pedophiles. But basically is what I'm getting out of it.
People who seek positions of power and control are not always nice, normal people. And this has been going on for a very long time. You and I and other people that have normal values, that feel bad for other people, that try to do the best we can and help other people, and et cetera, we don't have that negative bad bone in our body that says it's okay to kill people or torture people or kill kids or whatever the hell else they're doing. But there are people out there who don't care. They have no moral compass, and they'll do whatever they can to hoard money and to have, power. It's just insane. But it's all coming to light. I mean, I'm glad that this stuff is coming out so people can realize what's going on behind the scenes.
Someone in the chat said, will any of it truly come out, though?
I'm sure some of it will come out. Enough has come out to make me sick of the whole system and of all these super wealthy people all over the world trying to control everything. But more and more stuff will come out.
Someone else said, no thanks to cash.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what each of the active components are doing, but, you're starting to see things happen that would have never happened before. And if you look at and I liked Bongino and I like Cash, per se, I think they've captured a lot of bad people and gotten rid of them or, put them in jail. So are things happening at the speed that the public wants? No, but that doesn't always happen that way.
Someone in the chat says, I don't like her either. I don't trust her. I agree. Sneaky squirrel.
Yeah,
Sneaky squirrel.
I get a bad feeling about that. And she's so intent on how well the tribute went to her husband. I'm like, I've known people that have lost their husbands and their wives and different people. That's just not how you react. Oh, well, some people process differently. Yeah, a psychopath will process differently than a normal person. I just don't like the whole thing. I would not donate to any of that because I think it's been hijacked by bad people that have their fingers in the pot, that are controlling. Look, if you saw a guy who is charismatic and great and patient and saying all sorts of good things, and he brought hundreds of millions of people and young people into the realm to create a good outcome, and nefarious or bad people said, hey, we've got to get control of that. We've got to get that money. We've got to get those people to do what we want. That's what's happened. You know? That's what's happened. People around the shooting that day, how did people in Israel and France know the moment that he was shot before anybody else? Because there was something and someone that told them that moment. How does McCoy be on the phone, his friend gets shot, and he walks away on the phone? You know, walks past the SUV that they put him in. He didn't rush over to see how his friend was. He's part of the problem. God forbid if someone I knew got shot, I'd run to help the person. That would be the only thing that I would think of. Not being on the phone, talking with somebody, walking away while they carried the guy and put him into an SUV. There's no ambulance there. One of the people on Instagram listed all the things that made no sense, and it's true. Think about it. So let's spend a little shout out to Dr. McCullough, because I think, not McCullough, Peter McCullough, that I think he's doing some terrific work, same as RFK Jr. I think if we have the opportunity to speak to Dr. McCullough, that would be awesome. We're kind of working on that. And then maybe we'll try to find and see who his friends are and try to interview them. You never know. I have one of my patients who's been on the show before, Dominic, older Italian guy. I tell him he looks like the Italian Cary Grant. Wonderful guy. He was a judge, attorney, really eloquent guy. Now he's going down to Washington every month because he's doing some stuff with wounded veterans, wounded warriors. And I spoke with a woman who's high up in one of the organizations. We're going to try to get to different people so I could have conversations about doing STEM for wounded veterans. We're just getting there. We're just getting closer and closer. For me, I want it done yesterday. But sometimes in the bureaucracy, things take a while. Apparently, this year is a year for funding for really good things for the veterans. So we're knocking at the door. Hopefully someone will open the door. We'll be able to get in. I think it's going to happen. I've got Josh, the gentleman who we've interviewed, a veteran that we treated who was blown up in a vehicle in Afghanistan. He's working on different companies raising money for STEM for the veterans. So we've seen a few dozen of his comrades that have been blown up in vehicles as he was, and they're doing great. I spoke to two of them the other day, Will and Garrett. Will, feels like a different person, and Garrett had MS from all of the concussions and all of the injuries. And he says he hasn't had any MS symptoms in the past year and a half, which is spectacular. So whatever it takes to try to get in front of the Secretary of Defense or people that make decisions, we're going to try to do it.
Someone in the chat's just asking, where's Dr. Chris's office?
Garden City, Long Island, New York. About a half hour or so east of the city. Right next to Meadowbrook Parkway and Stewart Avenue, the intersection there.
Oh.
Yep.
Things got a little quiet in here.
Yeah, people are relaxing, trying to stay warm.
I know I am.
I know. The only people that like the snow are my dogs. They love it. When they get up in the morning and I have a cup of coffee and they look outside, their eyes just jump. Let them outside. They run around. They roll in the snow. They eat the snow. They're all over the place, which is good because it gives me time to myself.
Not easy for the ones that own apartments.
Yeah, and I have a friend in the city who has an apartment on 86th and 2nd or something, and he's got little chihuahuas, 3 of them, I think. And he's got to get the little boots for the chihuahuas and tie them because there's snow, melt, and all this other garbage in the city is bad for the dog's feet, paws. So, you got to take that step of either cleaning the stoop or cleaning the sidewalk, and there are piles of snow. You can't just walk onto the street. You've got to be able to see where someone cut through the pile of snow to get to the street. It's a mess.
It's all homeless slop on the floor. Gross.
Yeah, it's, I know the garbage. That mayor is just one piece of work. What do people think?
Give him more money and he'll do everything.
I would ask people that voted for him, what the hell are you thinking? He's a radical. He makes a big smile and people think, oh, yeah, he's got a nice smile. He'll be good. He's horrible. But as George Will, the political commentator and author, had said, every now and then you need someone horrible like this to show how horrible those policies are to be able to vote someone else in the next time who could clean up the mess, like Dinkins and Giuliani. So I don't get how people that own businesses in the city, that live in the city, could vote for someone who's all about destruction of the city. The police force can't do anything. They're, handcuffed, no pun intended. The garbage is mounting beyond all means, and rats will be all over the place now. It's insane.
And he's kind of a terrorist also.
Yeah, and he's got no plan for fixing anything. He's just like all the others, like AOC shoots down the entrance of Amazon into Long Island City, which would have hired 40, 50,000 people, would have put restaurants and dry cleaners and all sorts of businesses in the area, just because she thought that someone was giving Amazon $1 billion. No, it was a tax break. So you could hire 40,000 people, and those people get to live and do well and have good jobs, great jobs. And restaurants and everything else that opens up around that area would be great for the city. But no. Because all these politicians are figuring out how to make money for themselves, and they don't care about you. That's the way it works.
Did you happen to see that whole thing where Mamdani's mother might be in the Epstein files?
Yeah, they say she is.
With him.
I wouldn't doubt it. I believe it. I think that because Epstein was so close with the Clintons and other high-powered people throughout the world, and he was the guy trapping people with young women so everyone could be blackmailed, that's unbelievably obvious. He was able to move in circles that no one else could. And people wanted to gravitate towards him to get some sort of benefit, because he theoretically was a billionaire, but, everybody on Wall Street had no idea who he was. I dated a girl whose mom was the number 2 person at a very, very, very big bank. And she said he was nobody. He went from being a school teacher to a billionaire. How do you do that? Well, because people give you money and give you an apartment and give you. And whether it was foreign intelligence and countries, or this country, giving him tons of money to make this appearance like he was a billionaire, they were able to trap everybody, like Prince Andrew. But Prince Andrew seems like he was a dirtbag anyway.
Seems that way.
And has anybody thought of the fact that Prince Andrew, his girlfriend was Meghan Markle on the yacht, and she said she was pregnant, and then he kind of blew her off, and then Harry meets Meghan and decides to marry her, and Prince Andrew didn't step up and say, hey, by the way, she was my hoe.
It.
I mean, Look at all that. How bizarre is that?
I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah. There are videos and pictures of her on a yacht with him. It's well known.
Oh, my God.
She used to, I don't know if it was the Soho House or one of those big places in the city that would set people up, you know? And the guy that she was friends with who ran the place had connections with all the powerful people and would set up young girls with the powerful men. And that was their, job, their game. And that's what she did. You could look it up.
Oh, my goodness.
So, yeah, she was the party girl, the yacht girl for these wealthy people, and that's the story. Research it, people. Look it up.
She did well for herself.
And then, well, it's all unraveling now. She's not worth anything now. But imagine your uncle is having, a fling with her. She says she was pregnant, but she wasn't. And now they're saying she wasn't pregnant with the kids that they supposedly have together. So there's more insanity going on. There's comment about how she's older than she says because there's some discrepancy within birth dates. These are just psycho people.
Unbelievable.
Let them just fade out of sight. That's what I'd like. Just go away.
Please.
Go away and shut up so I never have to hear from you again.
Take an island.
Go away and shut up. I'd like to make a T-shirt. Go away and shut up. Or shut up and go away. Yeah, it's insane. But the world has a lot of sick people in it. And only now are you seeing more of that pop out. But get rid of them. Good riddance. Okay, friends, look likes we're down at the end of the program. Thank you all for listening. God bless you all. Give us a call at the Garden City office, 516-794-0404. We'd love to help you out, ask you questions. Email us through the website, drcalapai.com. We forgot to put the barcode up for the Stay Strong program, but there we are. We'll have more of that coming up this week. We're going to be putting all sorts of good information out to all of the midweek people that are on Rumble and LFA. So we anticipate we're going to just ramp up our marvelous audience. We thank you so much for listening to the program and watching, for your questions. We'll be back on again soon, and we love doing this with you. Thank you. Bye-bye now.